What's up everybody, my name is Elliott and welcome to day 2 of the Worldwide Auctioneers Enthusiast auction. I'm back in the hangar with all of the cars getting ready to head out and go to our first stop. My trusty steed, the green Porsche 912, is my choice again for the day, and our first stop is a Mustang specialized tuner shop. So it's gonna be a lot different than yesterday already. I can't wait to see what's in there. Let's get on the road and see what's at our first stop. Thanks for joining me. After an amazing, rainy, scenic, hilly drive, we have arrived at Brent Speed, and these guys are an actual tuning shop. They manufacture parts, they tune cars, and apparently they've got a lot of cool stuff inside. So let's get in there and see what they've got. All right, so we're in the shop area at Brent Speed, and like I said, they do installs, full engine builds, and they even tune all in-house. Check out some of the cool stuff they've got going on here. They've installed a supercharger on this Mustang, and he's replacing the clutch. This, I believe, like 2014 Mustang. The cool thing about this one is the amount of chassis bracing underneath that's going on. I have never seen this much work go into one of these cars. Look at this thing. But you notice it right here. This stuff is not factory. This thing has been stiffened to all heck. Got long tube headers, and then you keep going back, you keep seeing some chassis bracing. But the real kicker for me was what's happening on the rear end here. Look at that. That will pretty much stop all of the axle hop that would be happening on this car. It is absolutely mind-blowing. This thing is actually set up really, really well, and they said they're gonna be starting it today. I don't know if we'll get to hear it, but it's just really cool to be able to walk underneath a build like that, because sometimes when they're on the ground, you just have no idea that that much work went into one of these cars. Behind me, though, is a custom Ford Ranger they built, and this is like basically a SEMA car. They said it's got 900 horsepower to the flywheel, which is nuts in a truck, but it's also got these really cool like custom Detroit speed wheels. It's incredible. Check this thing out. It is gorgeous from tip to toe. Of course, obviously it's a popular one. That's why everybody's gathered around it. Absolutely incredible. I bet this thing is a riot. Now behind me is a car that I remember from my early driving years. This is an actual Steeda Mustang. Now they aren't as well known as like Roush and Celine, but this is like a track focused Mustang, and it looks really cool. I don't know if I've ever actually seen one. I just remember them from the magazines, but it's a real Steeda. It even has the little graphics, the little badge. But under here, what's not normal is a fully built motor that Brent Speed has done, along with a huge Paxton supercharger. Apparently the owner of this car actually tracks this car, and it's got something like 630 wheel horsepower, which is pretty ideal for the track. Not bad. Over here, they have what looks like a Cobra jet, but this is just a really, really highly modified GT500. And on this one, they have the engine not only out, but completely apart behind it. Look at this. There's the block, there's the crank, there's the pistons, there's some heads. It's literally the entire car spread out on these pallets here. And that's just the kind of thing they do here. I mean, they'll either install a supercharger and have a car done in a day or two, or they'll fully tear down an engine. This is a really, really cool shop. And what shop would be complete without a dyno room? Look at this. It's even got a Fox body Mustang strapped up and ready to go. This thing is really awesome. They said it's about 800 horsepower, and surprisingly, no roll cage, not even a harness bar, which is pretty impressive. This is one heck of a shop, and it's totally different than the classic car collections we were seeing yesterday. And that's what's cool about the Enthusiast Tour. They really do have something for everybody. It's not just classic car stuff. Sometimes it's stuff like this. You almost never know what you're gonna stop in next, but you do know it's always going to be cool. All right, we are exiting now through the showroom, which is really cool. And now we're heading back to the cars, going to lunch, and apparently we're going to a place called like the Boathouse, which, you know, is nautical themed, even though we're in the Midwest. All right, made it to the lunch stop. Look at this fantastic lineup, and look, we've found water. Now the nautical themed restaurant makes a lot more sense. Hopefully they've got some good food. Probably makes sense to order seafood due to the proximity of water, but anyway, let's see what it's like and then go look at some more stuff. All right, all done with lunch. Sorry I didn't take you with me. It wasn't particularly scenic in there, and there was a surprising lack of seafood given the nautical theme and proximity to water. But right now we're heading back to the cars. I think we're gonna do like group photos or something, and then I think we're heading to like a chocolate factory. This tour just keeps surprising me. Mustangs in the morning, boat restaurant for lunch, chocolate in the afternoon. Pretty sweet. This car has solidified my desire for a Porsche from this era. After putting like 200 miles on this thing, It has been absolutely flawless and just a genuine joy to drive. So popular. Oh, going up a big hill. There's the 100 horsepower. Come on, car. So, I mean, there's that. You know, you gotta anticipate hills. Color's fantastic. The driving experience is just great. And, I mean, it doesn't leak when it rains, something I've been contending with both days. And, of course, driving them through small town, middle America, you know, it has a certain charm to it. And that's part of the beauty of the Enthusiast Tour. You're driving through, you know, real America. And you get to see some really neat stuff. And okay, after a little over an hour, we have arrived at this chocolate factory, which is huge. Look at this place, it's there. So let's go see what it's all about.
Great, all right.
So far, so good. Ooh, double doors, ooh. I have a feeling we're gonna get shown a film about chocolate.
And left to ferment for up to 6 days. After fermentation, the beans are left out in the sun to dry for 10 to 20 days, are then roasted to develop their color, aroma, and...
All right, we watched the chocolate video. Apparently can't film or take pictures in there, which really puts a damper on my chocolate factory tour. But we'll pick this back up in the lobby. Okay, so the tour was over, and I gotta say it was heavily video based. I feel like we just went from one station to another and watched a video, but they gave out free samples at each station, which was pretty neat. And I got to see some of the cool stuff they make here. Like, let me show you this. This is like a gift box, and it's entirely edible. They also have this gift box and that gift box, which is pretty incredible. Apparently you actually fill it with the chocolates and then eat the box itself, but you do pay for it as well, as you can see. That's artisanal stuff, whether it's wine, chocolate, whatever. If it's fancy, it usually costs money. All right, heading back to the cars now because we're gonna go put them away and have dinner at headquarters, but I do wanna tell you guys about a special deal that Worldwide organized for me. If you use code Elliott at the link below, you can get 100% off bidder registration for Friday's memorabilia auction and 50% off bidder registration for Saturday's car auction. So if any of you guys are interested in that, be sure to visit the link below and use code Elliott. It's really cool that Worldwide gave me my own code and is giving you guys a big discount. So check that out if you feel so inclined. Oh, I just walked past my own Porsche. That's what happens when you're walking backwards and talking. Anyway, I'll see you back at Worldwide headquarters. All right, we are back at Worldwide headquarters. Man, what a fun day of driving. Up next, we have a catered dinner with a visually guided storytelling. Not sure what that's gonna entail, but sounds pretty interesting. Today has been wildly different than yesterday, but my trusty steed, lime green Porsche 912, has been absolutely flawless, and I've had a great time putting even more miles on it today. Okay, so this is just an extra little segment. Look, they've got like a car tug. They're putting away my 912s with like what you would tow an airplane with, but it's specifically made for moving cars around in areas like this. All right, it's another day. We're back at Worldwide headquarters. The Porsche has been detailed magically overnight, and we're about to head out to go to see another collection. But before we do that, I want to introduce you guys to somebody and check out a really, really special Mustang. This is Wade Kawasaki, one of the partners of Coker Tire and former SEMA chairman of the board. Wade, tell me a little bit about this Mustang. It's been catching my eye this whole trip. Really cool, and you said it's pretty darn special.
Yeah, it really is. And I gotta tell you, this tour has been great, but it's also made the car super dirty, so I apologize for that. But yeah, Roush, they did such an amazing job on the car. They built me a one-of-one car. What they did was they took a Roush Stage 3 Mustang, and then they added some of their race car products and technology to it. So it's got their Roush race splitter that goes on the front of the race cars. It's got upgraded engine components within it and an upgraded supercharger in it. And then they did some really cool things because they knew it was going to get this heritage rivalry. So they did a lot of blue and orange things. They did these great sill plates for me. I'm sorry they're so dirty. But,
that's okay. That's still awesome.
They did that great custom interior, the orange shift knob. So they did a lot of things to bring together that heritage rivalry. After they were finished with it, they took the car over to Speed Corp. Speed Corp, you know, those guys are amazing over there. They pulled the glass out, they pulled the interior out, engine and trans, and put this gorgeous livery on it. The heritage livery really looks sharp. They also installed a roll cage in it because I do take the car on track days and do some drifting in it. So they installed the roll cage in it. We had modified the roll cage in such a way that it's a 6-point roll cage, but the back seat still fits in. So that was something that we wanted to do. We also took it down to Sicky in Southern California. They put one of their hydraulic drift brakes in it, so it makes it easy for me to initiate going to the corners, be able to get that back end kicked around and be able to have a controllable drift. So really cool stuff. They put all their carbon fiber pieces on, including the rear wing. And yeah, the guys at Roush's we were talking about before, it's so cool because they're such a great engineering company. And so it's not just a bunch of aftermarket products thrown on your vehicle, it's all things that are engineered to work together. And so the car is just a great daily driver for me.
That daily driver with a hydraulic handbrake. How much horsepower are we talking here? Because you said it was a modified version of it.
It's just a little bit under 800 horsepower. The flywheel, yeah, so it's not bad. We're going to do a couple of upgrades to it. They since have come out with a phase 2 intercooler system, so we'll be putting that on there and a couple other things, and we'll hope to get that horsepower up, maybe 850, 900.
Well, that'll make it for an even more exciting daily driver. Well, thanks for talking to me, Wade. It's been awesome being on the tour with you.
All right, take care.
Nice to see you, man. All right, I guess we are getting on the road now. The next stop isn't really that far away, but I will pick this back up when we get to the next collection.
Wait right here.
This will be. Look at this place. I honestly don't even know where to begin, so I'll just begin with what's behind me. This is a supercharged Auburn Phaeton, and that would have been made right here in Auburn, Indiana, as will a few more of these, so check this out. This is very up my alley. Another supercharged Auburn. This one is a Speedster, and look at the supercharged pipes. These are functional exhausts that come out of here, and it is just such a cool looking car. This would have been the Ferrari of its day. Faster than anything else on the road, cooler looking than anything else on the road. This is a real car for like elites. It's so awesome to see one, and they go for big money nowadays, as if you can't tell by the rest of the things in here. So this is a 1930 L29 Cord, front wheel drive. But one thing I want to point out to you is one heck of a hood ornament. Look at that guy. Now, of course, the big dog car in this whole collection, I would say, is this Duesenberg dual cowl Phaeton. It's amazing. The reason it's got a John Wayne poster there is because the director of that movie was the original owner of this car, but it presents so well. These are probably the most desirable of the Duesenbergs. Duesenbergs are desirable on their own, but this is the one you want. It's supercharged as well. Not all Duesenbergs were supercharged, but this one is. So most desirable configuration, most desirable engine, and here it is. So it's called a dual cowl because, well, if you look in here, you know, here's cowl 1, and then you come back here, and the passengers, there's another door, have their own windshield. So when you're riding as a passenger in Duesenberg, you're not just getting blasted in the face with wind. You have a nice experience. Unlike if you were in like the rumble seat of a Model A, you were just getting it, but not in a Duesenberg. Here's another familiar car on the channel. I'm never not gonna talk about one of these when it's here, but this is a 53 Corvette, not a 54. So they only made 300 of these, and this one is apparently number 220. And from the looks of it, it is absolutely perfect. Mechanically and physically, they are identical to the 54 that we have, but it's just a little bit more special due to the rarity. And it's a real pleasure to be around one of these cars and be this close to one, especially one as correct as this. Now, this is a Packard 645 Deluxe 8, also a dual cowl Phaeton. And with the top down, you can really see the dual cowl portion of this one a little bit better than you can in the Duesenberg. Like I said, you are actually protected from the wind back here. Even have little wind wings. That's pretty neat. Now trust me, you would have had to have been really somebody to be driven around in one of these back in the day. Now here's something that I showed you guys when I was in Scottsdale. I love these horseless carriages. This particular one is a 1908 Holzman runabout, and it really embodies the horseless carriage thing. You can really see how it was basically a carriage, even down to the wheels. It just happens to have a motor. And in this one, it's got kind of like a rope drive. It's not a belt, and it's not a chain. This is like some sort of a woven rope. That is very, very interesting. Of course, the engine is back here, and well, no real brakes or anything. Everything's just kind of controlled from over there or over here, squeezing on the wheels. This must be a real interesting car to own. I mean, look at this, not exaggerating. That is pinchable, very thin. These are like those road bike tires. These aren't even like in your standard bicycle tires. Those would be twice as wide as what is on this runabout. God, I love horseless carriages. Now this is really cool. This is a 1913 Ford Model T, but it has been converted by a company back then to have overhead valves, which means it increased the horsepower from 22 to 44, which is double the horsepower, and in something like this, actually made it scoot. Apparently this car is capable of 100 miles an hour. This is basically like a race car you could buy back in the day, and it's really awesome to see one here. Gotta be incredibly rare. I love everything about it. I love just the gas tank is just hanging out back here. Still has pinstripes though, because it's got to look good. And this is what you get for a windscreen. Just what kind of looks like a bathroom mirror. All right, in here, the car with the body off is actually a Cord. And if you remember from the Scottsdale auction, I showed you that supercharged Cord, kind of gray with red interior. That is basically this car, just you can actually see everything. And let me show you some of the cool stuff. First of all, you never get to see these with the body off, and it's incredible. So this is a supercharged V8. That's the supercharger in there, and you can tell you could eat off of this thing because it's going through like a body off restoration. But the interesting part is, remember when I told you guys that the little transmission in this is like the older version of Lamborghini E-Gear and Ferrari F1, where you kind of select it and then something else puts it into gear? Well, that was this in the 30s. So that's what this little shifter is. You snick this along with your fingers and it will put the car in gear for you. It's called a pre-selector transmission. The interesting part is you normally can't see the mechanism that does that, but because this car has the body off of it, you can. Now, this is front wheel drive, like I said, so the engine's kind of all backwards, which is why this thing is right here. So you put the car in gear, it's got like 4 solenoids right here, and then it uses vacuum to actually actuate this thing and put the car in gear. Absolutely mind-blowing technology for the day, and something that we really didn't see again until the very early 2000s. So this car was way, way ahead of its time, and it is so cool to see one exposed. All right, and just like that, we are back at Worldwide HQ, and now it is time to actually start the auction. Today is memorabilia, tomorrow is actual cars. I'm not gonna get this out in time for you guys to join me for the memorabilia auction, but please join me for the live stream of the car auction. That's probably what you guys care about anyway. I'll have all of the information for that in the description below, and it'll be on Worldwide's YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. This has been an incredible adventure over the last couple of days. Be sure to follow me on all the social media stuff. I put some pictures of some of these collections up there. You know, all the normal stuff. I will see you guys on the next video.